I think this will be the first time in my career as a head coach. This is my 9th year. I've never said anything before. You guys pigeonhole me on the questions you have prearranged, but I do want to say this. I mean this as genuine as possible. The buttons on Twitter, I don't know what they all are. So every morning after I get through working out, I send a tweet. And I know how to go to compose it. I know how to send it. And then I let my wife hit the button that has all of those mentions. So this is maybe not the right thing to say. I took the job because of Whit. And I met Whit in Chicago. And then the next day, Whit was in Milwaukee. And maybe it's because I grew up in the country. But where I grew up, when people hired you to haul hay, you were responsible to the man that hired you to haul hay. And so I know that being on time with the media is a portion of my job. I mean that respectfully. But I want to tell you that to some level, what you say and what you think has no impact on me, because my responsibility are to the children and the families represented in the locker room first. And second, my responsibility is to Whit, my boss. And so for those of you that I found out that were talking in a very negative way about me, that really is offensive to me. And I want to say that I tried to be as accessible and blunt and transparent with the media as I can. The reason I was late was not because I was having a meltdown with our team. If I was having a meltdown with our team, I would have said I had a meltdown with our team. So I apologize for being late, and I mean that genuinely. But if you ever think that being here is more important than me talking to our children or my responsibility to the guy that offered me the job, unequivocally, the answer is no. And I hope that doesn't offend you or the other media around the world that are watching this, but it's just in my heart what I believe to be right. I'll answer any questions you have.
Your Don Taylor chemist on regulation. What helped that offense?
I thought it was the first time since we've been here that nothing we did was appealing to the eye. I didn't think that we were necessarily great offensively all day. We were great at not turning the ball over, which gave us our best chance to win. Jalen was great. Seth was great. But I thought we were hanging in there, and I thought we were taking the types of shots that we want. I thought they made 3 at the end of the shot clock contested shots that were potential backbreakers, but we just kind of hung around. And it turned into, instead of a basketball game, it was more of a body blow fight. And I thought it was the first time that we didn't have to hit a prayer or something miraculous didn't have to happen in order to win. And I thought our guys just kept hanging in there.
That's something interesting about Jalen. You said Jalen carries a heavy burden because he's so talented. You expect this.
Yeah, that's good.
And I know you've been trying to draw that out of him.
Yep.
How's that process going? When you see something like this tonight, you try to extrapolate the rest of the season, see what that can be.
I think they asked me, not as articulate as you just did in radio, the same thing. And I've said since Thanksgiving of last year, he's the most talented guy on our roster. And potential is poisonous at times if you never realize it. He's got to figure out how hard you have to play. he had a really good game like this against Duke. And because of all the things that have transpired with our roster, the thing that I would say is he doesn't have to score 23 every night, but he has to be in a position that they're guarding him like he could potentially score 23. And I think collectively with the guys that we have left, we're going to have to fight like that 18 more times. And maybe Jalen will have another superlative offensive game. I don't think that we need to rely upon him like that every game. But we're going to have to fight and scrap like we did today in order to have a chance.
Early in the season, you were less than pleased with Seth's defense. Tonight, or this afternoon, you draw Scott Barber for most of the game. Does a pretty good job. How have your progress on you?
Yeah, he's arguably top 5, one of the smartest basketball IQ players I've coached. But understanding it is part of it, and then doing it was probably the hardest part of it. And I thought that, it was the first time we had started that group. It was the first time we'd started him at the point. It was the first time that his matchup was the best perimeter player. It so happens that Cat's the leading scorer in the league and incredibly difficult to defend. But I thought he did a good job.
Cat got, he got 21 points, but he had to take 21 shots to get that. What was kind of the defensive game plan against him?
Yeah, that's right, Berman. Good question. We talked about can we, without going into a big long spiel, points per possession. So the 65 shots, and they scored 68 points. Can we get our points per possession above 1? What's our turnover percentage going to be? Obviously, we only turned it over 5% of the time. But we need to, almost like football, maybe reincarnate, maybe I could be a football coach, but we don't necessarily always have to win time of possession, but we need to be really close. And then points per possession wise, we've got to hover around 1 or above. And then our DER, it's got to be below. If you look at the games that we've lost, our DER has been atrocious. And sometimes that's offensive rebounding, like it was against West Virginia. Sometimes our OER really struggles because our turnover percentage is so high. But, yeah, we've if you have to shoot 21 shots to get 21 points collectively, if you're trying to do that as a team defensively, you're probably trending in the right direction. Yeah, I think so. Through non-conference, we averaged 14 turnovers a game, and we forced 14 turnovers. And that was kind of along some of the same things that we were trying to talk about the last couple of days that Berman just mentioned. We give them the ball, and then they give us the ball, and it's a push. We can't. We're not. Our margin's not good enough to win a push, and it's the same thing on the offensive glass. I know they're way superior than we are inside. So somehow we have to make sure their big guys don't get it, and the rest of us are flying in and getting it. But if you were to point to one stat, I would say what gave us our best chance to win was our turnover percent was 5, which was the best. There was one game last year that we turned it over, I think less than that in non-conference, but not in a conference game.
You mentioned some of the efficiency numbers. Now, you obviously get ready for one of the most efficient teams in the country in both ends. Coming into today, it's their 4th offensive efficiency as well.
No.
How daunting is that for a young team that's still kind of trying to figure it out and obviously got competition today?
I guess the best part of it is they don't all understand all that you just asked. They know that Virginia is 5th in the country. They know that it's an important game to a lot of people within the state. Obviously, they know that we won. I don't know that our guys can go through the depth of all that you and I maybe could go to the coffee shop and talk about, but I think Coach Bennett is an early entry Hall of Fame candidate. I think the job that he's done at Virginia has not got the recognition nationally from beginning to end that it should have gotten. I think their players are way better players than they get credit for. I do believe that the system offensively and defensively is elite, but I also think that the personnel in that system on both ends of the floor doesn't get maybe the credit that they deserve. I think they're good enough to win a national championship, and I think that we'll have to play with incredible spirit, incredible intelligence, and nearly everything will have to go our way.
You're up. I mean, you're down 10 with 10 minutes to go and make a make. It looks like you're maybe headed to your third straight lopsided loss. Instead, you pull this off and you're 1-0 in the ACC. What does that say about this team's makeup, and how important is that for the team's psyche to not have that reverse that?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think it's even bigger if we can take the next rung on the ladder step to that. And for whatever reason, Berman, like I said earlier, I think we just kind of hung around and we just kept fighting and we just kept scrapping. We shot below our field goal percentage numbers for the season. We shot below our free throw numbers for the season. We shot below our 3-point field goal percentage numbers for the season. We didn't turn it over as much, but all of our numbers were below what they typically are. That has to do with North Carolina State and what they do defensively. But we just kind of kept hanging around. And that's the first time that, like I said earlier, we didn't need a Hail Mary to win a game. And so if we want to have a chance to win another one, I anticipate if and when we win another one, there'll be a lot of the same sound bites in that game as there were right now.
Watcher seemed like he really responded well today after not playing very much against West Virginia. Helped these week.
It was just too fast and too physical for all of us against the Mountaineers, particularly KJ. I think KJ's a really good player, and he gives us at least a threat of someone on the block that can score. I think he plays out of the post really well. His skill set and his basketball IQ as a freshman is better than any player I've ever coached. You know, his dad, he grew up in every country other than the United States until he was in middle school. He's fluent in Spanish because he went to a Spanish school. He's got an incredible story, but his dad played 15 years overseas, so he was always with his family. Nobody else spoke English, and so he just completely knows everything that's going on. He's at a very, very high level. You can tell him once, and he's going to do it, and he'll never forget because he just knows what's going on.
You get the response from these guys that whatever you asked out of them in that post-game meeting, but in subsequent days this week,
Yep.
Whatever you wanted them to see out of them, did you see it today?
Yeah, without sharing all the things that I talked about, I know this kind of comes across the wrong way. However long we were in there, I know you had a stopwatch. I would say that 94% of the time I was talking to them about life. There was probably 6% that was basketball. What I can tell you is how they responded since then was as good as it could be. And I think our effort and our camaraderie and our esprit de corps was as good as it's been today.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
You realize when Teal's not here, nobody understands what esprit de corps means.
He does.
I know what esprit de
Giving
corps
him
And
credit
he
he
might.
deserves.
But yeah, that is a Teal. Teal will show up on Monday.
Yeah,
He's been here once since I've been hired, other than my press conference. Him and Herbert